Test 1, Test 2. Live Bible Reading Ministry. Coming to you again one more time. First, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, giving me another day, another opportunity to praise and worship the Lord, ministering to you the words of the Bible, reading to you from cover to cover the Holy Bible in audio-video Bible. So we come in again, once again, picking up from the book of Chronicles, Second Chronicle. We just completed the book of First Chronicle, and now we're getting into the book of Second Chronicle. Remember, we started out from the book of Genesis back in July. We go all the way through the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. We come in, that's the first 5 books of the Bible. They call the books of the laws, the book of Moses, the book of the Torah. Now, we pick up from Deuteronomy when the end of Moses ended off to Joshua. Joshua, the legendary warrior, the brave warrior that lead the children of Israel into the promised land. So we take over from Joshua, we went into the book of Judges. Judges, with all these judges in this time, there was no king in Israel. So the people, they just do what they wanted to do in that time for hundreds of years. Nobody heard from God. During the time, from the time they get out of Egypt, they went into the wilderness of Sinai under the umbrella of God. God leading his people out of Egypt into the promised land. So after they go through all the thing in the wilderness, in the Sinai, God dwelling with his people by tents, by day and by night, leading and fighting the battles for his people. He feed them, the Israelites, or the Hebrew people, the children of Jacob, feed them, clothe them, heals them, give them wealth. God gave them everything they ever desire. But still, only thing God wanted was for them to obey his command. So, as we give you a little summary of everything that we've done so far, all right? So, what we're going to do tonight here, since we get into the book of Chronicles, Second Chronicles, we already been through the book of First Chronicles. And now, the second part of Chronicles dealing with the Second Kings after the reign of Solomon. So basically, the book of Chronicle is a summary overview of the book of 1st and 2nd Samuel and the book of 1st and 2nd Kings. So 1st and 2nd Chronicles is a summary. First part of Chronicles, the first book, deal with the 1st and 2nd Samuel. The second book of Chronicle, 2nd Chronicle, deals with 1st and 2nd Kings, especially after King David. So now, as we continue tonight with the book of Chronicle, we're going to see what's all the people, everything that happened in the past. It's going to go through all the different kings after Solomon, especially the good kings. For some reason, Chronicle kind of leave out the last 10 tribes in the northern kingdom of Israel because they was already taken into captivity by the Assyrian. So the Assyrian took the Israelite, the 10 tribes, they call them the lost 10 tribes of the house of Israel. They went into captivity and they never returned. They get mingled with other nations. They were sold out into captivity. They get spread out and dispersed all over the world, all through Africa, all through Europe, all around the Mediterranean. Basically, the lost 10 tribes, they call them, took it out of the northern kingdom of Israel with Samaria as the capital. And they never get returned. So the last 2 tribes, the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, there was in the southern kingdom of Israel. They reign in Jerusalem. They call them the house of Judah, or the kingdom of Judah, led by all the bloodline of David. Pick up from David to Solomon to Rehoboam, and they go all through all the different kings. But Chronicle leave out the bad kings, the kingdom that didn't do too well. Altogether, there were 20 kings in the southern kingdom. There was also 20 kings in the northern kingdom of Israel. All 20 were all bad, evil, and wicked kings in the northern kingdom. But in the southern kingdom of Judah, the house of Judah, or the bloodline of David, continue their reign, their dynasty, after the lost 10 tribes. So this kingdom continue after David to Solomon and the rest of kings. Now, there were 8 good kings in the southern kingdom of Israel. 8 good kings that do good. They try to restore the temple worship. They try to come into obedience to God's laws. They try to get all the people to put away their idols and to worship God, to return to God and do his commandment, to obey his laws. Now, this were to the house of Judah, but it's also overall to the children of Israel, to the Jews, because by this time they were getting ready to be taken into captivity by the Babylonians. So the last 2 tribes, the tribe of Judah, which is Benjamites and Judah, were the line of the king. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. So through the line of Judah comes the kings, like David from the tribe of Judah, Solomon, his seed, through the line of Judah. So you will find Chronicle give you an overall summary of everything that happened from Genesis, from the book of Genesis, all the way to the return out of captivity, to the return from exile by the Babylonian. They returned under King Cyrus, the great King Cyrus of Persia, who defeated the Babylonian. No problem. They just erased the Babylonian and took over. And under King Cyrus the Great, Cyrus wanted the Israelites, or the Jews, to return to their homeland, back to rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple of Jerusalem, because it was all destroyed by the Babylonian under King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar took the tribe, or the kingdom of Judah, into captivity, took all the people, all the priesthood tribe, all the tribe of the dynasty of David, all the lineage of David, taken into captivity into Babylonian. Now, there is a little side piece that also the book of Chronicle teaches on, that you don't find in 1st and 2nd Samuel, and you don't see this in the book of 1st and 2nd Kings. 1st and 2nd Chronicle, this is really one book, but they divide it into 2 books, 1st and 2nd Chronicle, and the 2nd book of Chronicle covers the last part of the 2nd book of Kings. All right? I know this might sound confusing, but what is happening right now is that the house of Judah was getting ready to go into captivity. They was going to be taken into captivity and return under Ezra, which is the next book coming up. The next book of the Bible is Ezra, then Nehemiah and Esther. And after Esther, I believe we get into Job, then Psalms. So we got the next 4 books coming up,